Good morning. Today's video lesson is simply about how to create a graphical display from data that's in a spreadsheet. This is going to help you guys create that graphical display that you're going to need for your project. Start with good things, obviously. We always start with good things. I finally got to use my hot water in my place that I put in myself. There's some awesome pride that comes out in your psyche when you're able to reap what you sow, so to speak, when you can actually get to use the things that you create with your own hands. There's a lot of pride that goes into that, and some of you, I hope that you get to live to experience that. It's a really good thing in my life, and I like to say that one day I can say that I'm a self-made man, and everything that I have I own. It's not borrowed from, and it's not begged to achieve. So anyway, that's it. Let's get right into it. So you guys all have this same survey response spreadsheet. In 2018, I took a survey of some of the teachers here at this high school, and I asked them several questions. Some of them I didn't think really were necessary in this particular thing, but you can see there's a lot of information in here. Looks like I missed a couple things here. Let me go ahead and insert, let me format alternating colors there too, so that it matches everything. Anyway, the point being, we want to see what we can do about creating a graphical display. Well, first of all, I have the ability to edit this file, and the file that you have is just view only. But there are things you can do even with a view only file. If you want to, focus on one specific topic and answer in a column of data, you can click on the letter that's above that column. So for instance, the question here is, when did you graduate college? And the funny thing about this question is I don't know how it got answered the way it did, but everybody answered with the school they went to and not the year they graduated. So I don't know why, because everybody pretty much gave their age range, so it didn't matter. So let's see, if I want to talk about, it says, when did you graduate? I'm going to change that because it's actually, where did you graduate college? That's the answer they gave me, even though the question was, when did you graduate college? Obviously, every single person that answered this with where they went to college and not when. So I found that kind of funny. But let's say we just want to go and look at that data set. So we can go and we can click on that. If you have a MacBook, you can double click, or if you have a mouse, you can right click and you can pull up this little screen, and you want to copy it. Then you want to open up a brand new spreadsheet. You can either open up another tab, or you can just hit right here, File, and then New Spreadsheet, and it's going to open up a tab for you. And if that's the data value you want to get, you're going to click on the first column, and you're going to just double click or right click with your mouse and hit paste. And there you have it. Where did you graduate college? Now, what I would do I would get here and move this over so that it fits everything. Okay? Now, you might want to title this whatever you want to title it, your name or something you can easily determine, but data set for news broadcast project. Okay? Now, as you can see, I still have two tabs. Now I have all the information about when you graduated from, or where you graduated from. And then let's say I want to know the level of education too. And I'm going to go double click, copy, bring it over here, click on B, and then paste. Spread it out, and there you go. So I can see what level of education they have. And let's say I want one more piece of information. Let's say male and female. Okay, that's something that might be interesting. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to go ahead and say number of siblings. Okay, or here's a better one. Where did you grow up? Now, this was a closed question, closed answer question, which means they were only given a certain number of answers to choose from. And one of them was, I don't know, I think it was a pretty well thought out question. I left some things out though. I didn't put suburban, and I changed that. So the next time I do a survey, I'll do that. So I've got 4 sets of data that I can look at, and I can look at them any way I want to. Now, here's the thing that's going to be cool. You want to be able to organize and analyze the data well. In order to analyze it, organizing is very, very important. So the one thing we know that we have is very little information on, or little different choices of, is male and female and level of education. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight all 4 columns. And the way you do that is you're going to click on left click on one of the column tops, one of the column levels. And then as you hold down, scroll over with your mouse or with your touchpad until you highlight all 4 columns. Now here's where it gets cool. Come up here to this column that says data. Now you have 4 columns. You have A, B, C, and D. Where did you graduate college, level of education, male, female, and where did you grow up? Data, and you're going to sort by column. But notice it says sort by column A. I don't want to sort by column A. I want to sort by a different column. So I'm going to go sort range, and it lets me choose which column I want to sort from. So I want to sort from their gender, male and female. So that's column C. Okay? And then I want to further sort, and I'm going to sort by column B, their level of their education. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. That first row is a title. It's going to get sorted too, but that's okay. You know why? Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put that back up in the top, okay? Sort. Notice that all those are gone. I have to go down and look for it. There's a way to fix that. It's somewhere in here, but instead of trying to find it, and then as a matter of fact, it's down at the bottom, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to copy. I'm going to actually cut it, which removes it from there. And then I'm going to highlight the very top column like that. Double click or right click, and I'm going to insert cells. Okay? And I'm going to shift down. That way it inserts it and I don't lose any of the information. Okay? Now I insert a cell. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paste that. Where's the information I pasted? Let's go down here. Is it still there? Yeah, it's still there. So let's go ahead and cut it again. Cut. And it didn't let me insert the copied cells or the cut cells. Paste. There we go. Now it's in there. Okay. I'm going to change this highlight area so it's not highlighted anymore. There we go. Okay. So now we have information. Notice that everything is female first until I get to male. Now let's say I just wanted to look at the female information. If I want to look at all the information based on just the females, I can highlight this right here and I can insert a chart. Okay. Now it's going to ask me what chart do I want to insert. Generally speaking, it's not going to give me any data unless I choose the chart. There's too much information because it's asking me to look at 4 different data values. So because of that, I'm going to delete this chart and I'm going to start over. And since I know what's female, let's just look at these first 2 columns. And I can go and highlight just the female portion. So I can go down here and I know where the females stop because I see it in this next column. Okay. So I'm going to use just this information because it just highlights this information. I'm going to insert a chart. Now it defaults to pie chart sometimes. In this case, it didn't. I'm going to change it to something that I can look at. If I go to pie chart, it has to be numeric. The problem is none of them are numeric. So because of that, I can't do that. So let's start over and let's delete this chart. And we're going to start over. We're going to make sure all the information we have is very similar. So I'm going to go ahead, and I've done this with some of the students, and I'm going to edit some of the things. Notice that I have Texas A&M University here, and if you come down here, you got TAMU. Well, I want that to be all the same. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go up here to edit, and I'm going to hit find and replace. So I'm going to paste this here, paste, Anything that says TAMU, I'm going to replace with this right here. Copy. Replace with Texas A&M. Now, I'm going to say replace all. So it's going to look through that entire column and look for Texas TAMU and change it to Texas A&M. And it did it 4 times, okay? So now, look at this A&M right here. I like A&M. I don't know how many there are, but let's change all of them, okay? So copy that, edit. Where's the edit? There we go. Find and replace A&M with Texas A&M. Command C if you're using a Mac is the same thing as copy. And Command V is paste. It only did it once. Oh, look at that. It didn't do it at all. Edit. Find and replace, because I only hit replace once. A and M with Texas A&M. Notice you can type it out. I'll replace all of them in 39 instances of A&M with Texas A&M. Now, that's a lot of changing really quick, really quick. Now, there's a Texas A&M University, Texas A&M University. We can really easy fix that by just getting rid of the small parts. There's a lot of them. You have Sam Houston State and SHSU. If you have more than one university, you need to leave it like that because you want to be able to see this information. This says Texas A&M, and maybe they went to UT and Texas A&M. I doubt it. I don't know anybody that's gone to both, but hey, you know, stranger things have happened. But as you can see, a lot of those have changed. All right. So let's take a look. What can we do with this data? Let's just look at the bachelor's or the female information. Let's look at bachelor's degree and master, just the degree, level of degree with just females, okay? Now we can insert a chart, and it will default to pie chart. It says that 57% or almost 58% of the females. Now, you can manipulate the title here. As you can see, it says count of level of education. You can change that. That just tells you how many. That's what it's saying, count. Level of education, and you can title this faculty, Rudder faculty, and then put females. Rudder faculty, and then in parentheses put females. And here's the cool part about it. Now that you have this, you can actually make it, and there's your nice little graphical display. And you can pick it up and move it if you get to the right spot where you see, and it's not going to let me move it. Oh, wait, it just was there. It's not letting me move it. Oh, there we go. We'll just pick it up and move it. Now, if you want to highlight the male stuff, you do the same thing. You start where males start and just highlight the bachelor's degree, okay? Or the degree. And you can insert by double clicking, insert cells, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, it's not giving you the option. So since it's there, you're going to go to the insert and hit chart. And it does the same thing. You want to do the same thing and title it the same as the other one. Level of education. Here, let's move it up here by the other one. Uh-oh, what happened? I just went, I picked up the stuff on the inside. I need to move the whole thing. So you got to click on it to where you can see it moving. You want them right next to each other so that they're very similar. As you can see, there's a more percentage of master degrees with the females than there are with the males. I didn't finish titling this male one, so I'm going to go do that right now. Level of education, Rudder faculty, and put males. And of course, if you needed to, you could actually highlight the entire column and insert a chart that way and compare it to the rest of it. This is count of male, female. Oops, I did that wrong. Let me delete this chart. And let's do just the degree, insert chart. And 40% have a master's degree and 60% have a bachelor's degree. This is the level of education of the entire Rudder faculty that answered this survey. So when you talk about your graphical display, you want to talk about it as a sample. So in your news broadcast, what you need to say is when you're going to discuss things like this, you'll say, okay, According to the sample that was surveyed in 2018, our Rudder faculty at that time had 42.2% master's degree with females, and we had 57.8% bachelor's degree with females. And of the males in the faculty, 37.5% had a master's degree and 62.5% had a bachelor's degree. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but where did the blank spot go for the pie slice for the ones that have no degree? In Spreadsheet, if you have no information in there, it will not even consider it. It's blank. To them, that means blank. So in this case, those 6 females, I don't know if you noticed this, those 6 females that have nothing in here, when we surveyed our faculty, we surveyed all faculty. It wasn't just teachers. So we need to change that to no degree. Now watch what happens when you do that. Notice that there is a growing pie now. That pie degree, that pie comes out and it tells you exactly what we're talking about. And if you click on the pie itself, when you have it, you can see that it tells you how many are in that pie. And you can tell how many are in the pie and the percentage. In this one, 51 of the surveyed have a bachelor's degree, 34 have a master's, and 6 do not have any degree. And as you can see, the males all have a degree, and the females, 6 of those surveyed have no degree. So when you talk about the sample set and you talk about the answers to the survey, you always say of those surveyed, 6% stated they have no degree, 51% stated they have a degree, and it's a bachelor's degree, and 37 state they have a degree, and it's a master's degree. So that's how you would approach that. Now, what if you wanted to see this in a different kind of, I don't know, chart? Maybe you don't want to see a pie chart. Well, if you hit this little sandwich button, this little bitty tiny sandwich, and hit edit chart, you can change the type of chart you want. You can do a bar chart. You can come down to the bottom. There's all kinds to choose from. This is a histogram. There you go. Well, look. The problem is it only goes to 1. You want to change this particular level. So histogram, bucket size. I don't know what we did here, 25. This is the same as bin width. The problem is we're not talking about quantitative data, so histograms don't really help when we're talking about something else, okay? You can't quantify a category. So since it's categorical data, a histogram would not work. Pie charts work really well though. So let's go back up to the chart style and let's change it, setup, change it from a histogram to something else, okay? The best bet would probably be a pie chart, maybe a bar chart, possibly, this is another type of bar chart, but it's just you can see easily what we're talking about. And you can change the color of this to red. Well, all the bar charts are going to be the same. I wish you could change each one individually, but you can't. Notice that it titles every one, just like you have it titled, okay? You can do the same thing with female and male. Well, how many males and females do we have? Well, if you wanted a chart of that, you could do that. Insert chart. And you can see that 44% of our faculty is male. That's answered the survey, and 56% are female. If you want to see exactly who they are, you scroll over it, and generally it'll give you the numbers. In this case, I don't know why it's not, but I don't know how many people are surveyed, but you get the idea. Now, say you want to look at the different information, okay? Let's delete this file, because that, you know how to make a pie chart now. What about this? This was a closed question. It was multiple choice, and you can easily insert a chart with this information. And it's a pie chart that comes out, and you can see that 47% of our faculty that answer this survey, and that's how you would state it in your news broadcast. 47.3% of those surveyed in our faculty state that they come from a rural area. 9.9% say they grew up on a farm or a ranch. 28.6 stated that they came from a metropolitan area, and 14.3% say they come from various locations. Now, this is a good spreadsheet that gives you some really good information. Now, I would state that I would get rid of this count of, okay, because it is a count of that. It's titling exactly what it is, the count of. Now, what did you notice about this? You can't make histograms because none of the information we chose from is quantitative. Well, what if we use some quantitative information? So let's get rid of these charts here. I'm going to go through. I'm going to leave these here because those are good charts to look at. Let's go back to the responses we were given. How about some, I don't know, numbers? How many years have you been teaching? That's a really good piece of information. So let's add that as one of our columns that we're going to look at. Okay? How many years have you been married? That's not what I wonder why that is. Let me go back. That's not what I wanted. I want how many. That is. How many years have you been teaching? That is what I want to know. Sorry. I apologize. Paste. How many years have you been married? I thought it was teaching. Well, let's just go with that because it's a numerical number and we want to look at it, okay? So let's kind of look at the difference between males and females and how long they've been married, okay? So how long they've been married? Let's go and just highlight the female parts. All right? Insert chart. And there's a lot of information here. This is quantitative data. What do you notice about this? And it doesn't really give us a lot of information, does it? Because a pie chart is not a good chart to show quantitative data. Let's choose something else. Okay, column chart. It's not organized, so that doesn't help us either. How about a histogram? Guess what? That's actually a really good chart to look at numerical data. The problem is you want to customize it so that your bucket size is a little better. Let's go by every 10 years, maybe even by every 5 years. So you can see it kind of gives us, it's all skewed toward that first 5 years of marriage, right? And we can change the axis and titles. How many years have you been married? And then we can do the axis. The horizontal axis doesn't have a title. So let's title it. Let's see. I wonder why it doesn't let us do that. Okay, I thought you could title it. Maybe so. I'm not sure exactly where you can do it. Legend. There it is. Okay. Vertical axis, grid lines, number format from data. We're good. Minimum value 0. You can, it does this stuff automatically. Man, I want to make sure that you can put grid lines in here if you want to. Your vertical axis, you can put grid lines in there. Auto. It only does it for the vertical axis, which is kind of bad. You can change it from, let's see, it doesn't let you do anything else. Horizontal axis, it doesn't let you do the grid lines for it. It would be nice if you could, but that's okay. Because you're setting up bin sizes, you don't need to. You could choose something else. A pie chart, like I said, does not do a really good job of it. Just about everything else doesn't. You could do a table chart. A table chart doesn't give you a lot of information because it's just copying exactly what you had. So I would go back, and the histogram would be a really good example. And notice this is just females. So you would title it female faculty or Rudder faculty members. You could say that too. Okay? And then you can go back and you can do the same thing with males. Come down here to the males. Scroll up and only copy the information. See where the males stop and the females begin. You want to insert a chart there. Now, here's the thing. When you insert this chart, it's not going to have a title. How many years have you been married? Is all it's going to say. Okay? Well, it does have the title. That's cool. Okay, but the problem is it still shows pie chart. So let's make that a histogram. And it automatically determines what size bin. Let's change the bins to 5 so they look exactly alike. And then Rudder faculty males. And I think you're going to find that these are actually really similar to one another. You set them side by side. Females and males almost have exactly the same histogram. You see that? Now, just because they correlate doesn't mean that they're just because the males are married that long doesn't mean the females are married that long. By saying that just because they correlate that they're actually connected, that would say that just because they're similar, that means the males at Rudder are married to the females at Rudder. And that's not true. So we'll talk about that in the next unit. But these are good ways to make. And I would focus on histogram or a pie chart. There are other charts you can use. Box and whiskers. Box and whiskers, you really need some good information on it. So this was a closed question. I don't think it gave an opportunity for people to put whatever number they wanted into. It was actually open answer, but it's quantitative. Let's say I wanted to make a box and whiskers. Now, a box and whisker is a very specific kind of chart, okay? I think right here is it. At least 5 columns, but only 1 was provided. I wonder why that is. Because it doesn't do it by column. I would have to change this entire file. And I think I can, I just don't know how. I'll get with you if you want to do a box and whiskers individually, and I'll show you how. There are some videos I can post in here that shows how to do it. You would have to put all this information in horizontal columns as a row, and then you would make that information that way. So that's not a good chart that's not a good way to do the chart unless you know how to do it. Either way, we can do it. It's possible. In the meantime, though, it gives you a little start on how to do it. If you need some more help determining how to do this, please get with me in my class. You know how to reach me via email, john.primo@bryanisd.com, or you can send me a message to the Google Classroom. I hope this helps you a lot. Have a great day, and in the meantime, be blessed and be a blessing.